rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. And yes, that was a deep sigh. The reason why is because we have a Whiskey Warrior P1 in dire need of a prayer. Apparently Fat Paws was in some sort of an accident, and last I had heard, he was in the intensive care unit at the hospital. So before we get everything and anything going, I would like to request that all the Whiskey Warriors and everyone watching here now, if you would please join me in a prayer for his recovery. Dear Heavenly Father, we pray for our friend Fat Paws, who is currently in the hospital. We pray that your will be done, but if we might make a request, dear Lord, please do not take him yet at this time. Help him to recover and heal fully and return to his wife and family. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. Prayers up for him. I certainly hope that Fat Paws is able to bring himself back out, and that God helps and heals him and brings him back home safe. For his family and for everybody that is there. So, in his life, we'd like to see him return here to the Whiskey Warrior crew as soon as he can. So, anyway. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get things kicked off tonight, of course. It is...
Down to business.
That's the nectar of the gods, baby.
That's right, it's Whiskey Wednesday. It's like Taco Tuesday, but for badasses. Tonight I'm drinking out of the Buffalo Trace, and in fact, when the pouring sound came on the logo there, I actually poured it into the glass. The True Grit Roots Network glass. That's right. Right there. There it is. With the requisite stones, of course, in the bottom. Because, it takes stones to drink with whiskey. That's some good stuff right there. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Tonight is My News. My News is up for the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you are of mind, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me, place your hand over your heart and follow along with My News as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank you for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing or reciting the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and attach it to an email. Send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get you into the rotation. Looking for number 21. Oh, and by the way, I have it from a now heavenly host that if you use your phone to do it, you can use the share option. If you share it, you can share it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I'm looking for number 21, number 21 in the order. So if you haven't done it yet, I highly encourage you to do so. Please get me to 21 because I'd like to do also 22 because I like even numbers. And, the Whiskey Warrior P1s are saying they want 25. So we got to get there. Get 21 in, please. All right. Oh, I'm all discombobulated here between the news, between the news of Fat Paws and in some of the things that I have to do, like right before the show opens. Yeah, it's been kind of an interesting thing. All right, we have tonight's headline sponsor, which is, I drank out of the glass, of course, True Grit Roots Network. It's TGRN Wednesday here on the American Perspective channel, show, whatever you want to call it, podcast. And, of course, we tell you about TGRN. That stands for True Grit Roots Network. TGRN.net is our home on the web. Here is the front page where you can listen to either Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio or Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio. They are both on the web page. You can go and listen to them on Live 365. See these two widgets right here. The Dallas Moore is right over my shoulder. All you got to do is hit those play buttons, and you'll be able to play them right through the browser on either your desktop machine or even on your phone. I mean, you can open it up in the browser, hit that play button, and you'll be able to listen through your browser on your phone. Or if you really like everything, which you should like everything that we do, but download the app. And there are the two download options available. That is the App Store and Google Play. We have two separate apps, one for Dallas Moore, one for Walter Trout. And you can pick up either one of them by going to the App Store or Google Play. Why not pick up both? That way you can listen 24/7 to whatever your heart desires, whether it's blues rock or outlaw country. You can go to both. Outlaw Radio. Well, Outlaw Radio, it's a little more than just outlaw country. Believe me, it pays tribute to the outlaw rock artists as well. So, anyway, check out both of them and then download the apps, whichever one you like or both, and take us with you on your journeys on your mobile device. You can also play, believe it or not, you can also do it. Live 365 is also on your Roku and other smart TVs. You can just go and grab the Live 365 app on your smart TVs as well and play it through your TV. Or you can even do it through your smart device, like Alexa. For an example, with Alexa, if you just say, Alexa, play Live 365, that'll open it up. Or if you want to play one of our stations immediately, you can just say, Alexa, play Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio from Live 365. Now, that's the key. You got to say the word from Live 365. It may take a few minutes for her to find it, but once she does, she'll play it for you. And then from that point forward, all you have to do is just say play Live 365, and she'll ask you, do you want to continue with, for an example, Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio. You can do the same thing with Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio. You can say, Alexa, play Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio from Live 365, and she'll do the exact same thing. Key word is from, not on, but from Live 365. And she'll do that. So head on over there. And if you want to help us out and show your appreciation for the music that we play and all of our on-air personalities, you can head on over to shop.tgrn.net and pick up t-shirts, hoodies, or caps with either the True Grit Roots Network logo, the Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio logo, or the Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio logo on those items. head on over to shop.tgrn.net and get those, or you can just follow the link from tgrn.net. It's up in the header menu. You can hit the shop, and it'll take you right there. You can go and check out all these fantastic styles and pick up ones that you appreciate. I personally like the TGRN, True Grit Roots Network logo myself, but then again, I'm kind of biased. So anyway, head on over to shop.tgrn.net and pick up your fantastic swag today. All right. So, well, the Democrats got what they wanted. They wanted the Epstein files. They wanted it codified into law. I personally think it's stupid. It's a waste of money for them to do that. But they went ahead and did it anyway, and so the House passed it with one dissenting vote. The Senate passed it unanimously. And it's headed toward Trump's desk, and Trump is going to sign it. Now, this is where he's reported to going to sign it. But one of the things that has happened there is that all of a sudden there's a couple of Democrats, one in particular, who all of a sudden has been exposed. And they're, well, let's just say they ain't happy about it. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. Also, too, I don't know if anybody has seen this video running around on the internet of, I think it's like 5 or 6 Democrat morons who are sitting there trying to encourage the National Guard troops and other troops to disobey lawful orders. Well, they say they're unlawful, but I promise you they are lawful. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later. And I'm just, what a bunch of idiots they are, and I'll get into that in just a few minutes. But first, let's go ahead and start talking about, oh yes, we now have proof, folks. We now have proof. You know those campus protests, particularly the Palestinian-loving, Israel-hating, Jew-hating protests on all of these campus anti-Semite kind of protests, these campuses across the country? Well, we now have proof. There were several people who got paid. Right here. Apparently, CARE has been caught handing out $1,000 checks to campus anti-Semites. That's right. Now, you kind of wondered, many people wondered, well, these people, most of these people, these kids, let's say, are sitting there, they're well-supported, well-funded, and they're doing all these wonderful, I say wonderful being facetious, but wonderful things, protesting on these campuses. They looked like they were well-fed, they had tents, they had all these different support structures in place, they had plenty of water, they had plenty of food, they had all kinds of, bullhorns and all kinds of other stuff that, a college student wouldn't necessarily have the money to go ahead and just willy-nilly spend it and buy it. Well, it turns out that the Council on American Islamic Relations, known as CAIR, CAIR, yeah, they're the ones that have been helping to fund this. So all of these, anti-Semites who marauded across college campuses in the months after October 7th, yeah, they were able to be full-time agitators and haters because this radical Muslim group, CARE, was cutting some of them $1,000 checks. So this is a new report that came out from the Network Contagion Research Institute and the Intelligent Advocacy Network that confirms that CARE Specifically, its California chapter was cutting checks to students who faced penalties or disciplinary consequences for their pro-Hamas campus quote-unquote activism. That's right. So, they got $1,000. So, yeah. And of course, it's not a surprise that progressive Californians opened up their wallets to help out the young idiots who turned college campuses into violent, chaotic minefields of anti-Semitism. So the cash came from a fund called Champions of Justice. That Champions of Justice Fund was set up by the California chapter of CARE as institutional endorsement. And CARE, which, California, the largest arm of the CARE web of nonprofits, affiliates in San Francisco and Los Angeles themselves, raised more than $100,000 in donations for campus radicals. And the main group itself solicited $64,000 in donations. These records show. So the money was offered apparently as a interest-free loans in grants of $1,000 to students who, according to CARE's website, lost scholarships, housing, or other support because of their advocacy. Well, no shit. Of course, they should. Damn it, being anti-Semites like that? Give me a freaking break. Whatever. Anyway, to put it in context and into reality, these rewards were handed out under the guise of loans and scholarships. The money was never intended to be repaid, by the way. Never to be repaid. In October of 2024, CARE California, CARE-CA, awarded $20,000 in loans and scholarships to 20 student protesters from this fund called Champions of Justice Fund. The identities of the student recipients have never been revealed, but the institutions they attend were in CARE's literature and included Columbia University, University of Pennsylvania, and Harvard. Yeah. Yep. So, yep, there you go. They're paid agitators. That's what they are, folks. They're paid agitators. And we now have the trail of proof. That's right. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and by the way, in case you haven't noticed, CARE itself has been in the headlines quite recently. They made a big stink last month when a British journalist they brought to the U.S. for a nationwide speaking tour was detained and deported by ICE after it was discovered that he had a history of making inflammatory anti-Israel comments. Their guy, it turned out, had gone to a London mosque soon after October 7th and urged the congregants to celebrate the victory. And on Tuesday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott designated CARE a foreign terrorist organization. Label which is entirely warranted. I'm telling you, folks, we can't, people talk about these radical Islamic extremist groups and anti-Israel. We, as in America, have nothing in common with these folks. We cannot live in the same realm as these people. See, this is part of the problem that, everybody talks about, oh, yeah, America just brings in all the immigrants. We should just bring in all immigrants. No. No. We need to vet those immigrants. We need to bring in the immigrants that are going to be of a positive influence on America, not the ones that are going to be, running around and making things negative and all kinds of things like that. No. We need positive immigrants. And if you want to come here legally and you have a skill set or a trade or something that you can apply here in America and are willing to give up all ties to your old country and become American, we're more than welcome. Come on in. We will definitely take you. But if you're here just to agitate, cause problems, break our laws, God forbid, do attacks on our country, we don't want you. Stay away. And we should be deporting every single one of those idiots when we catch them as they come in. All right. Well, let's scoot on over to the Epstein saga. Now, I hate having to talk about this, but in this particular case, it's good. And it's good to talk about this because it's no longer a hoax that Epstein, was tied to people in our government, that Epstein helped people in our government, that Epstein had a lot of connections to high-powered and high-profile people within our government. The good news is that they're all Democrats. Epstein had an email and was apparently connected to Hakeem Jeffries. He donated to the man. Yes, he donated to the man. And by the way, we have other people involved here too. It is, let's see, Larry Summers, who was Bill Clinton's Treasury Secretary and Director of Obama's National Economic Council. Virgin Island delegate Stacey Plaskett. Yeah, we talked about her the other night. And Catherine Rumler, who was the White House counsel under Obama. And now, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries has found himself in it as well. So this week, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer dropped a bombshell that Jeffries probably hoped would never see daylight. Emails show that Epstein was not simply on the fringes of the Democrat Party, by the way. This is all part of that 20,000 email thing that the GOP released. Yeah. Apparently, he was on the radar within the Democrat establishment even after his 2008 conviction for sex crimes. In 2013, a Democratic consulting firm reached out to him, hoping to secure his attendance at a Jeffries campaign fundraiser. That's right. He was solicited directly to be at a Jeffries campaign fundraiser. That same batch of emails reveals that it was more than just a blanket invitation. Not one of those where, hey, you know what? We're just going to take all the Democrat donors on a list and we're going to blanket. We're going to send it out to everybody. No. That's not true. Because that same email batch was reaching out to secure Epstein's presence at a Democratic fundraising event to power their House majority push. That stands in stark contrast to the rhetoric that we've been hearing about. By the way, James Comer says, quote, another email shows Democrat fundraisers invited Epstein to an event to meet privately with Hakeem Jeffries as part of their 2013 effort to win a majority. So Hakeem Jeffries' campaign, not the man himself, but the campaign, okay, solicited money from Jeffrey Epstein. So, interesting. Now, the invitation email came from Lisa Rossi of Dynamic SRG, which is a Democratic fundraising group. And here's what it said. Dear Jeffrey, we are thrilled to announce that we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, one of the rising stars in the New York congressional delegation. Sometimes referred to as Brooklyn's Barack. Yeah, we call it, side note, we call him Timu Obama or Dollar Store Obama or Dime Bag Obama, whatever. Anyway, the email continues. It says, he is a staunch supporter of President Obama and a progressive voice of the people for New York City. New York One did a profile piece about his work on the vitally important budget and judiciary committees in Washington. Yeah. So, anyway. So, yeah. The email, of course, raises some troubling questions for Jeffries. Now, there are still some questions that, honestly, I would like to know. I mean, first of all, where did this guy get his money? Because reportedly, he was gifted something like $150 million from some rich billionaire. And we have no idea where that money actually came from. Why was he able to have that private plane? Why was he able to purchase that private island? You know, there's still some legitimate questions with regards to Jeffrey Epstein. But don't sit here and tell me that Jeffrey Epstein, needs to be, it needs to just be about Trump. No, it's not. It's not even close to being about Trump. Trump found out what he was doing, kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago, severed all ties with him. The victims that have been the most vocal about it have not said a single word about Donald Trump being on the island, in Jeffrey's house, doing things untoward toward kids. In fact, they've all said the exact same thing. No, we've never seen Donald Trump there or doing anything untoward. We just know what Epstein told us, which again could be anything. But yeah. Anyway. So you got to kind of wonder where some of these Democrats are, where they've, what kind of relationship that they did have with Epstein. But again, and, just to be fair and point this out to everybody, the Biden administration had all of this information. Now, granted, some of this, of course, they can't, and even now they still can't, things like grand jury testimony and all of those kinds of things. But unfortunately, with this new law that just got passed, there's a few holes in it which may run into some legal challenges. One of them being, of course, and Speaker Johnson brought this up, is normally in these kinds of cases, you would protect the victims. You would protect the informants or some of the witnesses or whatever. Okay? All of these things that are not part of that bill and were literal holes in the bill could present some legal challenges when it comes to releasing all of the quote-unquote Epstein files. And so we're not done with this yet. As much as any of us is totally distasteful about the idea of all this, we're not done with this yet, and we're not going to be done with this for quite some time, unfortunately. Well, if you'll recall, Stacey Plaskett was texting with Epstein during Michael Cohen's testimony. I played the video. With regards to that, lining it up with the timing of the text of the email, of the texts from Epstein. Okay. And we went through went through some of the texts that were sent. And this, of course, was during a February 27th, 2019 House Oversight Committee for this. Now, Plaskett apparently is now facing a bit of a problem with this because there is a vote in the House to censure her for that. Now, keep in mind, they have to, to censure somebody, you basically have like a two-stage thing. First, you have to put the resolution to censure in front of a committee. Then that committee has to say yay or nay to it, and that's the first step that has been done. So the first step, the committee did vote to take that resolution to censure Plaskett out to the floor to a general vote. So we'll see what happens in the coming days with this. But in terms of that, well, Plaskett wasn't really happy about that. And yeah, she's not happy with regards to that. And she went onto the floor and started, going off on things. Now, Plaskett, for everybody's understanding here, she is a non-voting Democrat that represents the U.S. Virgin Islands. So all of this, of course, she claims that he was a constituent. That was it. Now, the release of the material now has led Ralph Norman of South Carolina to introduce the formal censure resolution. And he pointed out today, he said, I've introduced a resolution to censure Stacey Plaskett and remove her from the House Intelligence Committee. Her coordination with Jeffrey Epstein during official congressional business is disgraceful, unethical, and an affront to this institution. He described the conduct as corruption of judgment at the highest level. So, and keep in mind, 2019 is several years after when Jeffrey Epstein had been arrested for his trafficking crimes. He was federally charged in 2019, was a registered sex offender at the time that he talked to Plaskett or texted with Plaskett. Plaskett spoke on the House floor before the vote, defended her actions. She said that Epstein was a constituent of hers at the time and maintained that she was unaware that he was under investigation. She said, quote, I got a text from Jeffrey Epstein, who at the time was my constituent. It was not public knowledge at that time that he was under federal investigation. She also responded sharply to the criticism directed at her during the debate. She's like, you want to talk about texting felons? How often do you text Trump? Well, there's only one problem. Trump's felony charges are crap and bullshit, and we all know it, and will likely get overturned once the appeals process goes through all of that. But anyway, so the House, of course, voted to move the measure forward, setting up additional debate and a final vote. If it's adopted, the resolution itself would remove Plaskett from the Intelligence Committee, which receives classified briefings and oversees agencies, including the FBI and the CIA. So, yeah. Anyway. So, all of this stuff, of course, has led to calls within the House for increased transparency regarding communications between elected officials and individuals under criminal investigation. So, there you go. Anyway. All of this stuff. Boy, I gotta tell you. All right. Well, during that, and this is tonight's Moron Files, during that, of course, our favorite Texas Democrat dumbass decided to get up and talk about the entire situation. This was prior to the vote. And this is Jasmine Crockett, folks. Jasmine Crockett, our favorite, our favorite moron file. I think she's appeared more in the Moron Files than any other moron has. But anyway, here you go.
Thank you so much. This is a distraction to take away from the fact that the Guardians of Pedophiles is literally trying to protect pedophiles. The president is a convicted felon and an accused sex offender. Stacey Plaskett hasn't been accused of either. So what are we actually here talking about? Trump and Epstein were besties. We've all seen the pictures of them. We saw the birthday book. So why are y'all more interested in talking about Stacey Plaskett than Trump's relationship with the man? When did y'all become so moral? Because I can remember when y'all wouldn't sign the discharge petition. All of a sudden, everybody wanted to vote for this, but you wouldn't sign the discharge petition.
Okay, I'm going to stop her right there real quick. Because let's just say this. Trump ended his relationship with Epstein in 2007. 2006, 2007. All right? Period. He ended the relationship a long time ago. Stacey Plaskett, on the other hand, was texting with the man in 2019. So that's number one. Little Miss, I got attitude. Anyway, here we go.
Until we decide that we are going to go after the actual rapists and pedophiles, miss me with your moral high ground. Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous. You decide that you want to punish a sitting member of Congress because you are concerned about her text messages. Well, maybe you should be more concerned about those sex tapes that we still haven't gotten access to. Maybe you should be more concerned with the fact that the president, his name is mentioned in the files way more than Stacey Plaskett's name. Listen,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know, we got to talk about all this. We got to talk about all this stuff that had nothing to do with what's going on in America today. We got to talk about this. Okay, there's only one problem with her little rant, and I stopped it here specifically for this purpose. First of all, yes, Trump's name shows up in the emails because they're talking about how to hang Trump. They're talking about how to utilize what they knew, and by they, I mean Epstein and I can't even think of his name, that frickin' idiot that, wrote all kinds of lies. He was a book writer or something like that, and he wrote lies and all this other crap. Anyway, that's what they were talking about. They weren't talking about how Trump was, like, buying girls or any of this other crap that you guys think, meaning the Democrat morons think that what was going on, okay? But she's sitting here and she's like, And notice, too, she started off speaking, I mean, let's be honest, she started off speaking quite clear, concise English. And now she's like dropping into this, ghetto trash kind of talk, which is just an indication, by the way, that she collects this affect whenever she's thinking that she's going to appeal to a certain class of voters. Yeah. Well, there's only one problem. She talked about Jeffrey Epstein donating to all of those people. Yeah, there's only one problem. That particular Jeffrey Epstein is a physician named Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a complete different person other than the Jeffrey Epstein that they were referring to, the guy. Anyway, Lee Zeldin responded to that video, which was posted by AC and ACYN on X. And Lee Zeldin responds, says, yes, Crockett, a physician named Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who is a totally different person than the other Jeffrey Epstein, donated to a prior campaign of mine. He goes, no freaking relation, you genius. And he's right. Oh, sweetheart, just quit while you are ahead. And you're not even ahead. I mean, oh my God, talk about, I gave the best piece of advice that I think I have given anybody in a long time. And that best piece of advice was, if you are in a hole, the first thing you do is stop digging. She apparently is going to continue digging because she has no freaking clue. All of those people, just because their name is the same, has no correlation to whether or not it actually is the Jeffrey Epstein. What a complete, total, utter, freaking, stupid moron. I'm sorry. And by the way, screenshots from the FEC filings, according to the Populous Times, were circulated online after the exchange, showing that the donation itself came from the New York doctor. Yeah. So, folks, there are people across this country with the exact same name as Jeffrey Epstein that have nothing to do with it and no relation. And she's sitting here trying to assign it. Jasmine, Rocket, sweetheart, you really got to get better at getting these people, the people that you work with, to vet this stuff out before you go there. Now, she is the reason why the Constitution has that thing where as long as she's making a speech, she can't be held liable for her actions. She is immune from arrest. This is why it exists. This is why that exists, believe it or not, because she, unfortunately, can suffer no repercussions over that because the Constitution has absolved her, given her immunity from arrest on that subject because she is making a speech. And that, I guarantee you, is in the Constitution. I read it here on the program. I read it to you. I know it's in there. They have immunity from arrest for this, as well as traveling to and from the Capitol, and while they are doing their job at the Capitol, they have immunity from arrest. They don't have it any other place or any other way, which is why you have that one representative who is going to be brought up on charges of obstruction for the New Jersey ICE and assault, too. I think she's also on assault as well. Oh, these idiots. Yeah. Now she's gone and drug a few names through the mud. And we're going to have to check. I mean, they're going to have to delve into it, obviously, and try and figure it out. But I highly doubt that Jeffrey Epstein, the Democrat supporter and pedophile and convicted sex offender, donated to anyone on the Republican side. I seriously, I highly doubt that. It's possible. It's possible, but I highly doubt that it actually happened. So there you go. And yet she didn't bother to step back and think, well, because she doesn't have two brain cells to rub together. But she didn't even bother to think about the idea that, maybe this isn't the same Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. All right. So let me tell you about this wonderful partnership before we move on to my next. But this wonderful partnership that is between Rumble Premium and Perplexity Pro. So if you're looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content without ads, get the Perplexity Pro Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99. That's $19.99 a month when you sign up before December 31st. I have troubles with that Perplexity Pro bundle every single time. Yeah, anyway, so that a bundle, by the way, is normally a $29.99 value, $29.99 value, but you're getting it for just $19.99 a month when you sign up for that bundle before December 31st. With Rumble Premium, you'll get an ad-free viewing experience across all of your devices and access to exclusive premium content. No interruptions, just the videos and streams you love anytime, anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every single day. Do yourself a favor and save over 30% on this powerful bundle. That's the Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month if you sign up before December 31st. So head on over to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign up and unlock your premium experience. That's rumble.com / and that / is your question mark key on your keyboard, /premium to save over 30% on this powerful bundle. Perplexity Pro with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month when you sign up before December 31st by going to rumble.com /premium. So head on over there, sign up, and unlock your premium experience. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to get a little serious. And I'm being serious because we have veterans. We have Congress members. We have members of the intelligence community that have potentially broken the law. That's right. They have put out a video. 6 Democrats are urging some military members to, quote, refuse illegal orders in a viral video. Here, just so you understand, here is the video that has gone, quote unquote, viral. Take a listen.
Senator Mark Kelly. Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy. Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now. Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals
Against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
But from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army,
Our Navy,
the Air Force,
Your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
because now, more than ever,
The American people need you. We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
And who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Okay.
I'm Senator Alyssa
sorry.
Slotkin.
Senator Mark.
Sorry, hang on. I got to get this back to.
Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
All right.
Congressman Jason Crow.
I was a captain
So,
in the United States Navy.
Former CIA
Stop,
officer.
stop. Jeez. I'm tired of this. All right, folks. First of all, notice a couple of things. Notice a couple of things on this. Number one, they never, ever call out specifically what is illegal in the orders that are being sent. This is a gaslighting video. Straight up, this is a gaslighting video. And as a former military member who never gave up his oath to support and defend the Constitution, and believe it or not, I actually know what's in the Constitution. The way that it is historically supposed to be interpreted. This is bullshit. Just throwing it out here. These 6 people, especially Mark Kelly, oh my God, why would you even get that guy on here? That guy totally is not a honorer, whatever you want to call it, of the oath. None whatsoever. But here's the thing. They are right in one aspect. They are correct in the fact that an individual does have the defense that they can state that a order, if they refuse to obey an order, that they have the defense at their trial, their UCMJ ordered Article 92 trial, that they have the ability to use unlawful orders as a defense. But here's the thing, people, and this is straight up. This is straight up from the UCMJ, the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Okay? First of all, it doesn't mention unlawful orders anywhere in the USA, the UCMJ. It specifically addresses disobedience. It specifically addresses disobedience for lawful orders. It doesn't actually state anything with regards to the right to disobey unlawful orders. However, it does call out, and here I'm going to show it to you. So this is the 2024 version of the rules of what is this called? Hold on. The rules for courts martial. Okay. This is in the rules for courts martial 2024. And there it is. It says lawfulness. A general order or regulation is lawful unless it is contrary to the Constitution, the laws of the United States, or lawful superior orders, or for some other reason is beyond the authority of the official issuing it. Now I got a question for these supposed oath keepers, these 6 dumbass oath keepers. Explain to me where in the Constitution, here we go, where in the Constitution it says that the president does not have the ability to deploy federal troops on American soil. Oh, wait. It doesn't say that in the Constitution. It does not say that in the Constitution. And in fact, it wasn't until the Insurrection Act, and I'm zooming in on this because I want this to be clear. It wasn't until the Insurrection Act of 1807, which, by the way, defined or further defined when the president can utilize troops to help quell an actual insurrection. Oh, and by the way, the Posse Comitatus Act, that didn't happen until about 1867. So for all of you idiots that are running around there saying, well, the Posse Comitatus Act says such. Yeah, the Posse Comitatus Act didn't happen until much later, and it specifically calls out that there are carve-outs for when it can occur. Like in the Insurrection Act of 1807. Which, by the way, in the Insurrection Act, I've shown you on this program, it says that if the local civilian law enforcement does not do the enforcement of federal law, then the president, not in name, but the military itself, can get called out to enforce federal law. What part of this are you missing here, folks? Now, keep in mind, President Trump has not used the United States military directly against the American citizens of this country. They have been deployed in a supporting role of the normal federal law enforcement, such as ICE. This is a totally constitutional and continually upheld position for the National Guard to be in. Now, I am going to tell you this, and I'm straight up putting this out toward any service member who sees that video and takes it as to heart as gospel. If you defy an order and are wrong, and it is found that that order that you defied is actually a lawful order, your ass is toast. You can get discharged with a bad conduct discharge. You can even get jail time. You can forfeit all of your pay and benefits. You can do all of these things. You can have the entire book thrown at you if you are wrong. So as one former service member who still honors his oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, I am telling you right now, do not listen to those 6 idiots. They are wrong. Especially that Mark Kelly moron. There is not one single order that Trump has done that has been either against the law or against the Constitution. The Constitution clearly states that immigration is a function of Congress under Article 1, Section 8. The Immigration and Naturalization Act is what the Congress has modified over time. And deportation of illegal aliens is a requirement as a part of that. It is in the federal laws. It is also in the federal laws that you are required to stop people who are obstructing your operations, that you have the ability to arrest these people. That is under Article 18, U.S. Code, Section 111. These 6 morons in that video are attempting to instigate something that is, believe it or not, it's actually a violation of law. Let me show you. It is actually a violation of law. Here, Title 18, United States Code, Section 2387, states right here. Oh, I wish these people would get in trouble for this. Whoever, with intent to interfere with, impair, or influence the loyalty, morale, or discipline of the military or naval forces of the United States, advises, counsels, urges, or in any manner causes or attempts to cause insubordination, disloyalty, mutiny, or refusal of duty by any member of the military or naval forces of the United States, or distributes or attempts to distribute any material or printed matter which advises, counsels, or urges insubordination, disloyalty, mutiny, or refusal of duty by any member of the military or naval forces of the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for not more than 10 years or both, and shall be ineligible for employment by the United States or any department or agency thereof for the 5 years next following his conviction. And by the way, for the purposes, the term military or naval forces includes the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, Navy Reserve, Marine Corps Reserve, Coast Guard Reserve of the United States, and when any merchant vessel is commissioned in the Navy or is in the service of the Army or the Navy, includes the master officers and crew of such vessel. This covers everybody. Folks, these people, these 6 people who are encouraging, and this is clearly an intent to interfere with and influence the loyalty, the morale, the discipline of the military, period. Give me a break. You mean to sit here and tell me that these 6 Democrat people decided to put out this video because they wanted to remind everybody, just as a public service announcement, just wanted to remind everybody that, hey, you don't have to follow law, unlawful orders? That's crap. We know for a fact these 6 have been against Trump, against these deployments, even though they are 100% lawful. It's gone all the way to the Supreme Court. The California lawsuit got overturned. And just about every other lawsuit that has come from these rogue federal judges who have outstepped their constitutional boundaries and authority are all going to get overturned. Because SCOTUS has already said, hey, the president has the ability to deploy these troops. Period. This is just one single law. Now, understand, this is not tied. This isn't tied to anything like inciting an insurrection or doing a sedition or anything like that. This is by itself. 18 U.S. Code 2387. You don't have to be charged with anything other than this. They literally are, and they have the intent to interfere with the morale and discipline of the military. Because what they are attempting to do is get the service members who are being deployed in the cities to assist with enforcing federal immigration law, which, by the way, has been on the books for years. For years. And hasn't been enforced in like 10 or 15 years. That all of a sudden Trump goes in and starts to enforce that law, and now all of a sudden it's considered an unlawful order to assist with enforcing U.S. law? Yeah. I'm going to highly encourage, if you are a military individual, and you think that you are about ready to disobey the lawful orders of your commanders and your commander-in-chief, the President of the United States, you had damn well better have all your ducks in a row. The vast majority of Americans today don't even, and I'm talking about not the naturalized ones because they've been through civics. They know and understand the Constitution of the United States, but the vast majority of Americans born here don't have a single clue. There are so many people. This is extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous in my mind. And the reason being is because of the fact that these people are not reading and understanding the Constitution of the United States. They do not have the background in the laws that they are attempting to uphold. There is a vast majority of these people who do not have this background knowledge and understanding and clear, concise understanding of what this is. And these morons, these 6 Democrat idiot morons, have decided to try and play on that and get these people in trouble. Ignore them. Ignore them. Get yourself a copy of the Constitution. It's a 15-minute read. Read it. Keep the copy with you at all times. Understand that when you go out to support the immigrations and customs enforcement officers, that you are doing your lawful duty. You have been ordered to follow and enforce the laws of the United States of America. That this is 100% entirely lawful. Now, if you're being told to go and shoot up civilians, or you're being told to take these people and beat them while they're in custody, yes, that is an obvious unlawful order. But if all you are doing is assisting the ICE officers to go and arrest these people, detain them, determine where their nationality lies, which that's another thing the Democrats have been trying to spread across this entire country, that, oh my gosh, U.S. individuals are not able to be detained. You can't detain anybody under the U.S. Constitution, and that's crap. That has actually been proven to be a lie by the courts. If you do not have proper identification on you, or the law enforcement agencies cannot determine your identity, then they have the right to detain you for a certain period of time until such time as they determine who you really are. Now, there is a time limit on that, Generally speaking, it's somewhere in the realm of 72 hours. But they have the right, and it is not a violation of your constitutional rights to be detained if they cannot determine that you are who you say you are, or that you were attempting to deceive them. See, this is where these idiots get into play. They're just like, oh, yeah, well, you know, I mean, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, they don't have a warrant. They don't need a warrant. It's actually in the Immigration Act. They don't need a warrant to detain somebody that is suspected of jumping the border. They don't need a warrant to search that individual either. It's not necessary. And in case you haven't noticed, and I'm just going to throw this out there because I've had people who have sat here and said that, you know, the U.S. Constitution applies to everybody. No, it does not. The United States Constitution applies to American citizens themselves. Now, our laws do apply to pretty much everybody. And yes, if you aren't a United States citizen, you can be subject to our laws. But as far as the Constitution is concerned, the Constitution, it specifically states citizens. See, the Constitution creates the framework by which our laws are created out of. It ensures our God-given rights are not stomped upon by the federal government. But unfortunately, if you're not a United States citizen, I can't take the United States Constitution and apply it to a Canadian citizen here in the U.S. We sit here and, yes, we extend those rights, again, because our belief is that everyone should get those God-given rights. However, they don't apply necessarily. They actually don't. And if somebody really wanted to make a case, that has been demonstrated throughout history. See, the Native Americans that were here prior to our arrival, and even after we created the United States Constitution, guess what? The United States Constitution didn't apply to them up until about 1927, I think, when they were adopted by law to become and be part of American citizens. The U.S. Constitution is not designed and not intended to apply to everyone who just happens to live or reside here in the United States. See, this is why we have things such as green cards and permanent resident aliens and all of these other legal statuses that follow along. See, if the U.S. Constitution applied to every living being who just resided within our borders, then there wouldn't be a need for any of these other statuses. You would just all of a sudden step off the boat and bam, you're subject to the U.S. Constitution now, which defines being a citizen. That ain't happening, folks. Whether you leftist morons want to seem to, oh yeah, no, it applies to everybody. No, we as Americans extend it to other people at times when it is necessary, because our belief system is that, yes, the entire world, you do have God-given rights. But that doesn't mean that the Constitution was meant to apply to everybody. It doesn't. It applies to United States citizens only. Anyway, don't listen to these 6 Democrat idiots. I'm just telling you, do not listen to them. You are going to get yourself into all kinds of trouble if you attempt, without having in your, all of your legal ducks in a row, to try and refuse a lawful order. You've been through the classes. They go through this all the time. You go through it. You cover the unlawful orders within the first week of basic training, at least in the Army when I was there. And I know that you go back through training and stuff like that on it quite often. So don't sit here and let these idiot Democrats who barely even recognize that the Constitution exists tell you that, oh, no, you have the right to defy them. And they're basically expecting you to do so because they seem to think that, illegal aliens automatically get all of these rights and privileges that are reserved for United States citizens. They don't. The law is clear on all of this stuff. And the law is also very clear on the fact that when you have an American citizen who's standing in front of a ICE vehicle attempting to stop the activities known as obstruction, yeah, their asses need to get arrested too. And by the way, that is a criminal offense. Just like jumping the border is a criminal offense. This is ridiculous. I am totally and completely, as a veteran, embarrassed by many veterans who sit here and talk about how, Trump is a fascist and Trump is all this other stuff. Trump is blah, blah. No, Trump is not. Trump is actually, in my opinion, so far, he has been one of the most constitutional, especially out of the last 3 presidents that we have had. This is dangerous. For these Democrats to put this out, this is dangerous. And what's even worse is these veterans who are sitting here, I'm not going to deny that they served, but they're standing there like Mark Kelly, former, Captain Mark Kelly, former somebody else, former Navy, former Army. And they're sitting here trying to tell you in essentially innuendo that you must defy the orders. No, you had better damn well know exactly what you are defying. Because if not, you're going to get your ass into a sling. This is disgusting. This is. I would want these people, these idiots, to basically explain to me what order would be considered unlawful. What order is considered unlawful? The Insurrection Act clearly states that you need, as a federal government employee, that you must have the ability to enforce federal law. And if the local government or the local police force refuses to do it, guess what? The federal forces can and have, and it's been done throughout history and upheld throughout SCOTUS, throughout history. You damn well better know what you're doing if you're going to plan on doing that. So I condemn these 6 Democrat morons. You guys, you people are idiots. And yes, I would call them that to their face. They are idiots. They have no idea what they're doing. And like I said, it's a possibility of breaking the law, breaking federal law, 18 U.S. Code 2387, which I covered. People, I'm telling you, these Democrats, they are playing on the fact that you don't know what the Constitution states. And again, as I pointed out already, the Constitution itself doesn't even say that federal forces can't be used. It wasn't until a law that happened back in 1867, after the Civil War, when the United States Army was actually utilized on American soil to perform peace officer duties. Yes. It's not in the Constitution, folks. It was a law that was created afterward. The Constitution doesn't say that you can't. In fact, the Constitution, come to think about it, I just remembered. The Constitution states that you can. Here. And actually, it's even one of the ones in Article 1, Section 8, if I recall correctly. Where is it at? Yeah, here it is, right here. There is the constitutionality of it right there. Article 1, Section 8 states that the Congress has the ability to provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union. And they already did it. They put it in the Insurrection Act. The United States military can be used to enforce federal law. Period. It's already been put out there. I'm tired of these morons who are running around saying, no, you can't do that. Look up the Posse Comitatus Act. It specifically states that several carve-outs are done in the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act was before the Posse Comitatus Act. And in the Insurrection Act, it clearly states that when local authorities are not enforcing federal law, the Insurrection Act can be invoked and military force can be used. End of story. It's not that hard. You just have to have just a slight amount of intelligence to be able to look that up. People like these 6 morons, they freaking frustrate the hell out of me. They really piss me off because they act like, oh, I know the Constitution. And in fact, I think even in the video, one of them was holding some sort of a booklet. I think it was Elisa Slotkin or something. She might have been holding a booklet that might have had the Constitution, which, of course, would have had that phraseology right in it. Yeah. If I had the money, man, I would take a copy of this and I would send it to all 535 members of Congress. Be like, you guys need to carry that shit around with you. You need to read it. You need to understand it. You need to know it. You can't sit here and, I mean, God. Anyway. Yeah. Technically, Jarhead, you are correct. So Jarhead 13 over on Rumble says the military, regulars, reserves, or National Guard are not the militia. You are correct. The formal definition of the militia is every able-bodied person or every able-bodied man over the age of 17. However, because the Constitution was written with the intent of not having a standing army, several laws have been interpreted where it states militia within the Constitution. It actually does mean the standing army as well, because the army itself, the United States Continental Congress, did not want a standing army. And in fact, it wasn't until a little bit later on that they actually had a standing army and developed a standing army. So technically you are correct. They are not the militia. However, it does, the divergence of not having a standing army to having a standing army was never backdated into the Constitution. And so therefore, in terms of the courts of law, they would interpret that as that's the standing army. So anyway. All right. Let's see. Oh, yes. Okay. On to happier things. Let's move on to something happier. Tonight, we have a fantastic pet of the week. So let's go ahead and get that kicked off as soon as I can find it. There we go. And let's go ahead and do tonight's Pet of the Week. And tonight's Pet of the Week has been submitted by our very own Coco D. Insert name here. Now, this has got several photos, but also has a really good story behind it. So I got to make sure that I get the story going. So, you'll recall, and this is Coco writing, but you'll recall back in July, Mitzi Moo, who's shown here, got out and disappeared. And the assumption of the family is that she met up with some wildlife and met some sort of an awful fate. Sad to think about, but it does happen. Coco writes, "This was very hard on my son and myself. We loved her so much, and we pray she knows how much we miss her and love her, and that she rests in peace." So apparently last month, a friend of Coco's needed to rehome her sister's cat, and the family decided to take her. She's 5 years old, and her name was Luna. Now, there's only one problem. Coco already had and has a cat by the name of Luna, shown here. And so Luna, which is, she already has a Luna, which is the black cat, shown here. So her son decided to start calling the new cat Moon. And so Coco extended that and started calling her Moon Dust. Okay? So Moon Dust is shown here. So this is Moon Dust. Moon Dust is apparently very skittish and shy, but after a couple of weeks, she's finally starting to make her presence known. She apparently likes both of Coco's sons, both Cam and Sean. She met Sean for the first time this past weekend and immediately jumped onto the couch next to him and took a nap. Now, Sean, for him, he just was like, yeah. He apparently paid her no mind. He doesn't really pay attention to the animals, apparently. Coco thought that was pretty cool. So here is another photo of Moon Dust. Now, Moon Dust hasn't befriended any of the other animals yet. She does observe them from afar, and she will smack them if they approach her, so she's not afraid to defend herself. The family is kind of hoping that she's going to adjust to the situation soon. So here's another another picture of Moon Dust. And Coco continues and basically says, "Thanks, Rick, for all you do," and then proceeds to tell me about the photos. So there she is. There's Moon Dust. She kind of does look like Moon Dust. I mean, if anybody has actually like seen photos of where the astronauts have walked on the moon and like the close-up photos of the footsteps and stuff, you'll see that the footstep is like pushed out and is different colors. So like the outer layers are dark and then the under layers are lighter. And it's really kind of cool to see. So I can see where Moon Dust could come up based on this fur pattern. And there's Moon Dust kind of hanging out. So, yeah. So there you go. So that is tonight's Pet of the Week, is Moon Dust, the newest addition to the Coco D. Insert name here clan. And Moon Dust has got to learn, sorry about Mitzi Moo, but Moon Dust has got to learn about Luna. So, there you go. Anyway, so that is Moondust. And that is tonight's Pet of the Week. Thank you for the submission, Coco. Do appreciate it. If you would like to have your pet featured on Pet of the Week, all you need to do is send me some photos, send me a story, send me names, send me, whatever information that you are willing to announce publicly about it. And send it off to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get your pet featured on Pet of the Week. That is Wednesday nights. That's what we end the show with, is Pet of the Week. That's it for me for this evening, folks. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget, folks, put Fat Paws in your prayers and hope for a good outcome for him. He is apparently in critical condition in the ICU after an accident. We prayed for him at the beginning of the program, and we need to make sure we keep him in our prayers. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.